The speaker from whom we are about to hear was very special to the Bryant family. She is their dear friend, who is also a 4-time Olympic gold medalist, a 3-time WNBA champion, 3-time NCAA champion, the WNBA's all-time leading scorer. And if that isn't enough to convince you that she's one of the best of all time, Kobe gave her the greatest honor of all. He nicknamed her after himself. Please welcome the White Mamba, Diana Taurasi.
My name is Diana Taurasi. Thanks, Jimmy. You stole my first joke. I am the White Mamba. I would first like to offer my deepest condolences to all the families who lost a loved one. In 1996, I was a lanky, awkward freshman in high school, obsessively shooting night after night in my driveway. On the nights the Lakers played, I wouldn't miss a second of the game. Every time out, every commercial, I run to the front yard to imitate my favorite Laker, Kobe. On a few lucky occasions, my dad would come home from work. He was a metal sheet worker in Los Angeles, and he'd come home with Laker tickets. Watching Kobe play at the Great Western Forum as a rookie made this little girl believe she could be a Laker one day. It was like getting to know myself every single day. He made it okay to play with an edge that borderlined crazy. Early onset Mamba mentality was in full effect. Years later, when I spent time with Kobe at the 2008 Olympics, I learned firsthand that it just wasn't limited to the basketball court. His competitive fire ran through his veins, just like many of us today. Every single workout, I end the same way, with the Kobe game winner. 3 hard dribbles going right, left foot plant pivot, swing right leg through, elevate, square up, follow through. 5 in a row and I got to go home. It's that exact same shot that won us a championship in Phoenix in 2014. Kobe's willingness to do the hard work and make the sacrifice every single day inspired me and resonated with the city of Los Angeles. We struggled together, we grew together, we celebrated victories together. The same passion we all recognized in Kobe, obviously, Gigi inherited. Her skill was undeniable at an early age. I mean, who has a turn-away fadeaway jumper at 11? LeBron barely got it today. But it was her curiosity about the game that was pushing her to pick up the basketball every single day. Gigi was in the midst of the best times as a basketball player's career. No responsibilities, no expectations, just basketball with your best friends. Every weekend was a new adventure, an opportunity to learn how to work and grow together as a unit. As a young kid, there's nothing you looked forward to more than long, hot summer days in the gym with your homies. The same way Kobe inspired a generation of basketball players, Gigi in turn Kobe's interest in coaching and teaching the game. I'm sure I'm not the only one who received a text from Kobe asking what drills they were doing when they were 13. Gigi, in many ways, represents the future of women's basketball. A future where a young woman aspires to play in the WNBA, the same way I wanted to be a Laker. Gigi already had goals to play for UConn. That in itself showed her fearless mentality. She represents a time where a young girl doesn't need permission to play. Her skill would command respect. The last time I saw Gigi, the mamas were in Phoenix for a big AU tournament. Kobe brought them to the locker room to watch practice. I always remember the look on Gigi's face. It was a look of excitement, a look of belonging, a look of fierce determination. As a daughter, a sister, wife, and mother, we embrace Vanessa, Natalia, Bianca, and Capri. We promise to carry Gigi's legacy. Kobe y Gigi están en el corazón de Los Ángeles, y Los Ángeles nunca mueren. Te queremos mucho.
Just as her father was to our next speaker was to Gianna. Mentors know no gender or race. They just know they're here to help others. And one of Gianna's most impactful teachers and friends was Sabrina Ionescu. Following her appearance here this morning, she'll fly back to the Bay Area to face Stanford, undoubtedly with thoughts of her time here ever present in her mind. Please welcome NCAA all-time leader in points, assists, and three-point field goals, Sabrina Ionescu.
Growing up, I only knew one way to play the game of basketball: fierce, with obsessive focus. I was unapologetically competitive. I wanted to be the best. I loved the work, even when it was hard, especially if it was hard. I knew I was different, that my drive was different. I grew up watching Kobe Bryant, game after game, ring after ring, living his greatness without apology. I wanted to be just like him, to love every part of the competition, to be the first to show up and the last to leave, to love the grind, to be your best when you don't feel your best, and make other people around you the best version of themselves, and to wake up and do it again the next day. So that's what I did. Wake up, grind, and get better. Wake up, grind, and get better. A year ago, my team, Oregon, was playing at USC. The morning of the game, our coaches told us that there was a surprise for the day. I was thinking Nike sent us some new shoes or swag or something. The game starts, and shortly after, Kobe walks in with his daughter, Gianna, and two of her teammates. They sat courtside while my jaw dropped. They watched the entire game, and that was the first time I met Kobe. Kobe, Gigi, and her teammates came into the locker room after the game. He congratulated us on the win that day in our season up to that point, but said, and I'll never forget, "Don't shoot yourselves in the foot." He meant don't settle, to keep grinding, control what you can. The national championship wasn't far, and our goal was to win it all. I remember Gigi, excited and smiling in the locker room. I'd always watch a ton of film of her playing basketball. She had a fadeaway better than mine. I asked her where she wanted to play ball in college, and she said UConn. She had the will and determination to be able to play wherever she wanted, and if she wanted to go there, I wanted her there as well. She and her teammates hung out with us for a while, starstruck and a little shy, but always observing. Whichever school she would come to choose, it didn't matter. If I represented the present of the women's game, Gigi was the future, and Kobe knew it. So we decided to build a future together. I worked out twice with Gigi over the summer. I'd gone down to help Kobe coach his team. Gigi had so much of her dad's skill set. You could tell the amount of hours they spent in the gym, practicing her moves. She smiled all the time, but when it was game time, she was ready to kill. Her demeanor changed almost instantly when the whistle blew. I remember one time someone grabbed her jersey and she sort of just knocked him down and then stepped right over him. Me and Kobe looked at each other, smiling, and he goes, "I don't know where she learned that from." I laughed and said, "I do." You can't teach that, and definitely not at her age. Kobe was right. She had it. I love watching how hard she worked and how much her teammates loved her, but also her own desire to be great. She always wanted to learn, to go to every game she could. College, NBA, WNBA, Kobe was helping her with that because he saw it in her, just like he saw it in me. His vision for others is always bigger than what they imagine for themselves. His vision for me was way bigger than my own. More importantly, he didn't just show up in my life and leave, he stayed. We kept in touch, always texting, calls, game visits. I'd drop a triple-double and have a text from him, a double triple-double I see with a flex emoji. Another game, another text. Yo, beast mode, or easy money. I felt some pressure early on in the season, and he wrote to me, be you. It's been good enough, and that will continue to be good enough. He taught me his step back. He told me that if I could bring that to my game, it'd be over for any defender trying to guard me. He told me how high my arc needed to be on my shot, how to angle my foot, which leg to kick out, how much power to push off. Real sharpness comes without effort, he said. He was giving me the blueprint. He was giving Gigi the same blueprint. He united us. He made it so that the outsiders who outworked everyone else, who were driven to be just a little bit different every single day, to make those around them, behind them, and above them a little bit better every single day. And they weren't the exception. They were the rule. I wanted to be a part of the generation that changed basketball for Gigi and her teammates, where being born female didn't mean being born behind, where greatness wasn't divided by gender. You have too much to give to stay silent. That's what he said. That's what he believed. That's what he lived. Through Gigi, through me, through his investment in women's basketball. That was his next great act, a girl dad. Basketball in many ways was just a metaphor. I still text him even though he's not here. Thank you for everything. The rest is for you. Rest easy, my guy. The last one I sent him said, I miss you. May you rest in peace, my dear friend. The texts go through, but no response. It still feels like he's there on the other end, that the next time I pick up my phone, he would have hit me back. Sometimes I find myself still waiting. It's so strange to describe him or Gigi in the past tense. You don't get used to that. No one tells you that about grief. The week after the accident, I was in Colorado. I had a game, and like I do before every game, I prayed. This time I was thinking about Kobe and Gigi. His voice is still in my head, even if his body is not on this earth. And all I wanted was a sign that in some way he still heard me too. I looked off into the sky, and there it was, a beautiful golden sunset. The boldest yellow, Lakers yellow, and further in the distance, a helicopter. There was my sign that he will forever be with me. I heard his voice in my head, the last line from one of his books. Walk until the darkness is a memory, and you become the sun on the next traveler's horizon. Today may feel like darkness. He was, in so many ways, a sun, beaming, radiating, fixed in the sky. I ask each of you, every girl dad, every human here with a voice, a platform, and a heart, to not let his sun set. Shine for us, for our sport where he once did. Invest in us with the same passion and drive and respect and love as he did his own daughter. In the end, she was a sun just starting to rise, and God did she glow. May their light forever shine. Kobe and Gigi, I'll love you forever. Thank you.
Among the many dreams that the lovely Gianna would have realized in her life was that of playing for one of the greatest women's collegiate basketball teams in history, the Huskies of UConn. One of the highlights of her and her father's lives was a visit they made to the campus in March 2019. Here today to speak on his friendship with both of them is the 11-time NCAA championship coach of the Huskies, Geno Auriemma.
There's some amazing women in this room, aren't there? And you just heard from 3 of them. I'm Gino Auriemma, and I'm the coach of the UConn women's basketball program. And a lot of people are going to talk about basketball today. And I don't know that that's why I'm here. I'm not here for the basketball part. I tried to write a long, flowing speech about basketball, and I can't do it. There's too many thoughts in my head ever since Vanessa asked me to speak. Too many things that made me realize more that I'm here as a father, not as a basketball coach. And us Italians, as Dees just showed you, we're very, very emotional people. Right, Mike? He's half Italian. So the thoughts that I started to have after I was asked to speak were obviously about all the people that were on board. And if you're a father, a grandfather, you feel a different kind of emotion when there are children involved. Because this is always about the children. We've lived our lives. We have a little bit left. They're just starting their lives. And then my next thought came to the original team that Kobe was responsible for. Natalia, Bianca, Capri, Vanessa. Because we're always teammates, you know? We're always on a team. Sometimes it's a big team, sometimes it's a small team. And that's the most important team. And Kobe and I shared some history. He started in Italy, went to Philadelphia, and then went to the limelight and the lights and glamour of LA. I was born in Philadelphia, went to Philly, and went to the cows up in Stores. That was a joke because there's no lights and there's no glitz and glamour in Stores, Connecticut. And how ironic that he would talk to me about coaching. The uncoachable one wants to talk about coaching. Probably the most uncoachable player in the NBA during his career wants to know about coaching. And I wanted to know why. He said, I'm coaching my daughter's team. I said, oh my God, that poor kid. So when I watched highlights of her playing, and on about the 3rd or 4th time she touched the ball, Gianna passed it when she was open. I thought, she's not listening to her father. So he would call and say, what kind of defensive drills should I do? We have practice tonight. We're going to work on defense. What do you think is the most important thing in teaching man-to-man? Further proof, he never listened to one word any of his coaches told him. So I tried to explain to them. I said, Kobe, they're 13 years old. I think you ought to just say, hey, you know, see the kid with the ball, try not to let her go by you, and see if you're guarding the other guys, hey, see the kid with the ball over there, don't let her throw the ball to your guy. Keep it kind of simple, you know? He said, no, I want to know, like, what are the rotations when they drive? I said, come on, come on, come on. So these are the conversations that we have both as basketball people and as dads who have ever coached their kids, if you've ever been in that situation, like a lot of people here in this room probably have been. And I remember when Gigi came, as you saw in that video, she came to our the very first game that she came to, and she came into the locker room. And here she is. And the look on her face the smile, the way her eyes just took everything in, how excited she was to be around, in her mind, royalty. It's ironic. Her father's royalty. And she's excited to be around royalty that looks just like what she wants to be. And the most impressive thing about that point in time was how Kobe stepped as far back as he could. So anyone taking pictures, anyone there would not know that this was Kobe Bryant's daughter. This was her moment. This is where her time to shine. This was her time to experience all the things that he's experienced his whole life. He was being dad. He wasn't being Kobe Bryant. And he was allowing Gigi to be Gigi, not Kobe Bryant's daughter. In today's day and age, that's a hell of a thing for parents to be able to do. I'm going to leave you with just two things. We got a letter. Oh, I got to tell you about, you didn't see it, but she did meet the Oregon Ducks women's basketball team. And they all gathered around and said, "You want to take your picture?" And everybody ran over, and Gigi goes, "Nah, I'm good." She knew where her heart was. And you know that little sarcasm, "I'm good." And when they came to UConn and they sat behind the bench, and there's dad bringing his daughter to a game, and they have their shirts on, and she's got this coat on, and she has her hat on, and she's just a little kid at a game. And again, I felt more like a dad than I felt as a basketball coach, because I've done that with my kids. And lastly, number 24, number 8, and number 2. Those are basketball numbers. Those are numbers in the past. Those are numbers that we're not going to get back. What we do have is today how many numbers of kids like Diana have been inspired to do more, to work harder, to strive for more. And the numbers we also don't have is how many numbers of kids in the future, how many women are going to be inspired by Gigi's life. How many fathers are inspired by Kobe to be fathers, to really be fathers, the way a father's supposed to be. In this room, there is an incredible amount of talent. In this room is maybe the greatest collection of talent that I've ever been around. But in this room, there's a family, and there's still a team back home, and they still have a great coach. And I'm going to be rooting for that team from here on in. Thank you very much.